itself as such. So what do you think, isn't that in some way, in what ways do we introduce that category as lawyers? In ways that, how do we do it in ways that are more dialogic, so if we think about the procedural aspects, one aspect of providing indigenous peoples with procedural rights was in order to negotiate the meaning of what indigeneity is and what rights would it require. In this case, we're just providing them with a category as some kind of an efficient or practical tool to further their cause, but still, how do we do it is a question as well, I think. And in what ways do we do it in ways that don't undermine their own perceptions of who they are and what they stand for? And so so I think of other contexts in which indigenous peoples hit a dead end in their political struggles. Not always was the international legal framework or arenas could be helpful, but also kind of bottom-up struggles that fall short of state intervention could be helpful as well. So some kind of a community organization that strives for a constitutional identity that isn't the state, for instance, things we see in Australia these days. So that these kind of movements are not particularly geared to the international and not to the state. They use the kind of bottom-up understanding, and they work with the community in order to define what it is for a community, a more liberating way of using the law. So that kind of so I'm not so I want to push back on thinking of either the state or international. There are other, and also to think more of a bottom-up perspective and a dialogical. And so, and the question for Leora, it's more. So when I'm thinking about what you taught me, like in the first, second year law school, about the Eichmann trial as being some kind of a challenge to the heroic tale of the Warsaw Ghetto, and so against the backdrop of that narrative, we have the victims at the center and the legitimacy of being a victim and their story. And here you bring back the resistance. So it's again, but it's a different kind. So it's kind of a third attempt that it's not either the ghetto of Warsaw.
Yeah, it's a cultural resistance, spiritual resistance.
Yes, of a different kind. So it's no longer. So it's a different category. It's no longer. So we move beyond the victimhood of the Eichmann trial to a different kind of victim as a witness bearer, but even as a resisting